going from NFL 100 to fantasy football talk, because those don't go hand in hand. But ESPN put their 2024 fantasy football do not draft list out.
Oh, boy.
Now, what I love about this is that it's not saying stay away from them. It's projecting what round they're being taken in.
Sure.
So let's start with the running backs, where you would see, and on their list of do not draft, Kyron Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Jonathan Brooks, Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears, Austin Ekeler, even Devin Achane with Miami. And the reason they're saying don't take Devin Achane because people are going, wait, he was almost 8 yards a carry, and when healthy, he was explosive as hell. But Devin Achane is being taken in second rounds in some fantasy drafts because of what he's projected. At that steep a price and the question mark you get in Miami, that's what it's all about. Even touching on Raheem Mostert, 31 years old, always been injury plagued. Yes, led the NFL in touchdowns, but are you going to get that repeat performance with a team that just drafted another running back? Because it's all about speed for Mike McDaniel, and he'll put as much speed out there as he wants. He doesn't care who's getting all the touchdowns. He just wants to score touchdowns in total. But with those running backs, I understand the Kyron Williams one. High usage, but when they drafted Blake Corum, you go, ooh, that's going to murk the water. Kind of a repeat type of player. Ramondre Stevenson, I understand. Where Antonio Gibson coming in, you watched him play when you were in Washington, when you were in DCT.
Yep.
That's taking away the red zone targets in the receiving game. And this shoddy offensive line I still don't know about. My buddy drafted Ramondre last year, and I texted him right away. I said, hey, only solid I'll do. Trade him as quick as you can. He was in my league. He never did. He paid the price. And then Tony Pollard, Jalen Warren, both in timeshares. That's what you kind of want to avoid. If you don't know who's going to get the touchdowns week to week, that's a worse place you could be in. I held on to Jalen Warren. I was waiting for Najee Harris to go down. Never happened. So I understand ESPN's list. I want to start with the running backs on this. What did you think of seeing those running back names come up? And honestly, is there anyone that crossed your mind of, well, how about this running back? I'd stay away from them.
No, honestly, I thought about Ramondre Stevenson and that I disagree with the list. And I'm so glad you brought up that I covered Antonio Gibson before, because that's exactly why I'm comfortable drafting Ramondre Stevenson. The only thing that worries me about Ramondre are those damn ankles of his. I got bad ankles, so I'm sensitive to this. Like, this guy, every time you turn around, he's got a high ankle sprain, and he's not himself if he stays in the game or he misses a game or two. Look, Antonio Gibson is not really a real threat to take carries away from Ramondre Stevenson. Sure, you need a rest. You come out of the game for a couple snaps. Yeah, you can hand it to Antonio Gibson. But his skill set is that of catching the football. He was a college wide receiver who was converted to a running back in the league. He can catch like a Christian McCaffrey. I mean, his hands are that good. His routes are that good. Antonio Gibson I'm talking about, is that dynamic. So if Alex Van Pelt has any, at all, creativity in calling these plays offensively, you should see Antonio Gibson lining up in the slot out wide some damn where, or coming out of the backfield for like a wheel route going down the field. You should not see him turn around and getting handoffs from Drake May. You see what I did there? But more than likely, you're going to have Jacoby Brissett for a while. We understand that. So Ramondre, who is a workhorse back, is going to get the carries. If Alex Van Pelt is smart, Antonio Gibson is a complementary piece to what Ramondre brings you. That's why I will be drafting Ramondre Stevenson and crossing my fingers that he stays healthy, because that's the only thing that worries me, George.
Depending on his ADP, that bad offensive line, that bad receiving room, that bad quarterback picture we have right now, because we don't know who will be the QB and what the offensive identity would look like, I'm staying away from this Patriots offense altogether. If there's a value pick you can make, maybe Pop Douglas late in the draft.
Okay.
Maybe Jalen Polk late in the draft again, because those are two guys that pop off to me if they're going to have success. And maybe, just maybe, you go Hunter Henry, reliable red zone target, not going to put up a lot of yards. But if you're looking at the tight end position, it's not Kelsey, Andrews, Laporta. You just want guys that'll get in the end zone. They're not going to get a ton of yards. But if it's 3 catches, 30 yards, 1 touchdown every other week, you would take that at the tight end spot. Quarterbacks one. I didn't want to lead with this because I want to warm you up a little bit talking running backs.
All right.
4 quarterbacks they pointed out. Anthony Richardson. Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, and Kirk Cousins.
Ha!
Go. Let me hear your case for why you should draft Anthony Richardson.
I would draft it. I wouldn't come anywhere near to any of these other quarterbacks on the list, though,
Okay.
especially Rodgers. I would draft Richardson. I mean, all of our concerns are the same with him. Is he going to protect himself or not? But all of the reports out of Colts camp say this guy is back to throwing football over those mountains, right? He's back. He's looking good. He's him. So the question now is he going to get out of his own way quite literally? I would gamble yes. I gambled the same way I took Jonathan Taylor, the Colts running back, in last season's draft. And he was in the middle of a holdout. He didn't play for the first 4 to 6 weeks. I can't even remember what it was. Then he came in. I stashed him. When he came in, he was good money. I feel the same way with Anthony Richardson. I'm going to take him probably higher than most people are willing to take and stash him. He will not be my starter right away. I'm going to wait and see how it plays out with him, but he'll be on my bench because if that guy can stay healthy and protect himself, George, you have a dynamic young quarterback in this league, and I want to be a part of that. The rest of these old fogies, Rodgers is on shrooms, Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles, Deshaun Watson could be locked up by the end of this show. So I would rather take my shots with Anthony Richardson. Thank you very much.
But I'm not going to go AR-15 if he's going top 5 round. That's my thing. It's value driven.
It's where you get him.
And if you're going with one of your top 5 picks on Anthony Richardson, and to your point, you either want to bench stash him, so, okay, that's your backup quarterback, who's going to be your starter, or you can always go later. Get a Joe Burrow. Get a Kyler Murray, right?
Yep.
Get those guys. They won't put up crazy numbers,
right,
but they're going to put up consistent numbers. Burrow could. He finally has a healthy offensive line.
Kyler could, too.
Exactly. My thing with Anthony Richardson is, and I said it to you coming in, he has to learn how to avoid hits. He has to learn how to take hits.
That's right.
The hit that knocked him out for the season wasn't anything crazy, just a scramble, someone fell on him.
Yeah.
But at his size, 6'4", 245, 250, built like Superman,
yeah,
he has to learn how to play smart football. His ceiling is so high, but it's all with one hit because he takes so many, and he takes them so physical at the second level.
Right.
That's what could ruin him. So that's why I agree with staying away from these 4. Rodgers, Cousins coming off the Achilles. Deshaun Watson sucks, so I'm not going to draft him in any league. He'd be staring at me in the face in the last round. I'll take a second kicker over taking Deshaun Watson. Quick, let's go into receivers. Stefon Diggs, Brandon Ayuk, Malik Neighbors, and Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Neighbors, too many quarterback questions for him, but man, he's going to be really good in this league one day.
Yeah.
They just need to get through their final year with Daniel Jones on that monster deal. Rashee Rice, it's the suspension he's facing, but also he's an idiot, and I don't know what he's going to do after the suspension, which could get him booted from the league.
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk, once we know where he's playing in 2024, that's what will settle. That's going to be the big question mark. But that can knock his draft stock. And if you get him late, then take him because he'll be a number 1 receiver no matter where.
Yeah.
And then Stefon Diggs, 1 ball, a lot of targets, Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, him.
Yeah.
We won't see the same production. He's still a very good receiver. Again, it's what's his ADP, and it's who you're taking him over when maybe you could get him later in the draft and get value with that pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually where I was going with Brandon Ayuk. I'm comfortable taking him. I'll be honest. Everyone else on this list I would avoid like the plague. But Ayuk, I disagree. I'm comfortable taking him because if he gets traded, and right now the rumors are 3 teams, and all 3 I'm comfortable with. Obviously, New England will be great. The Commanders, reuniting with his buddy and former teammate in Jaden Daniels at quarterback. And then the Browns, I'm hearing too. All 3 of those teams, I would feel good with Brandon Ayuk if he's on my fantasy team and I took him high because he's going to be the number 1 regardless. He doesn't want to leave the Bay because he's unhappy with the culture and being a part of that team. Mm-hmm. He wants to get paid. He wants to be a number 1 option. He wants to be the man. So I would feel fine drafting him and then seeing if he can become that somewhere else. At worst case scenario, San Fran says, screw you. We're trying to get a Lombardi. You ain't going anywhere. After the season, you can walk away if you want to. Then obviously I feel good having him because he stays in that system where pretty much, let's call it what it is, he is the number 1 because Debo's such a Swiss Army knife. Ayuk is your number 1 pure, true wide receiver. So I would draft him high. Everyone else on this list, I agree with the list.